Good morning, Lou.
Good morning. It's the 29th of October. This is Rabbi Levitt, Nefesh Hahaim.
Okay, here we are.
I'm going to run into Baba Basra.
Okay. Okay. Hashem should enlighten our eyes. The Ereinu, the Torosoi. And we should make it our Torah. Ezra Hashem. So we are in Nefesh Hahaim, and Nefesh Hahaim starts off in Shar Aleph, Perik Ches, with a Gemara in Baba Basra, because he wants to talk about the Kruvim. And the place to look about the Kruvim is in the Gemara in Baba Basra on Sadi Tes.
Sadi Tes?
Sadi Tes. Amid Aleph. 99a. Sadi is 90 and Tes is 9. 90 and 9, 99. Amid Aleph.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, so first, what we're going to do is we're going to read. Let's read the Nefesh Hachaim. Let's read a few lines of the Nefesh Hachaim, and then we'll see the Gemara, and then we'll try to put it together. And who would like to start off the reading today of the Nefesh Hachaim? Perik Ches.
Nefesh Hachaim, Perik Ches. Chapter 8. The beginning of chapter 8?
The very beginning. Hine Chazal. Razal, he calls it.
I have Hine Rabosenu.
Okay, so yeah, that's that. So here's a something that you need to know. Whenever you see in a lot of when it comes to stories that are written in Lashon Kodesh, they're notorious for trying to put 3,000 words into two sentences. So how do you put 3,000 words into two sentences? You know how? You make out of two sentences, you got 10 Roshi Tevos that stand for 20 different words. So this is what we have over here. It says Hine, and then it says Resh, Zion, and then it's got two little slashes, and then it's got Lamed. So what does that mean? What does that mean? There's even Svorim that tell you, that have a whole list of all the Roshi Tevos that are in Svorim, and you just, when you have that sefer, you can take a look, and some of the entries have like 3 or 4 different entries, different. So this very same Roshi Tevos could mean 3 or 4 different things also. So you got to figure out which one applies in the sentence that you're reading. But okay, that's a little bit about the learning, but this is very common. Resh stands for Rabosenu, so that's what you have in your English translation, Rabosenu. And then the Zayin Lamed stands for Zichronen Lebracha. So that translates to our rabbis of blessed memory.
Got it.
And instead of taking up almost a whole line to write our rabbis of blessed memory, you got 3 letters, and that's it. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
My English says now Chazal. Just like you said.
Yeah. Sometimes it spells it with a ches for chach, and ches stands for chachamenu, our sages of blessed memory.
Ah.
Sometimes they're called sages, and sometimes they're called rabbis. Oh.
And then it has a footnote which says Baba Basra 99a.
Right, because when we talk about Chazal, we're really talking about the rabbis of a specific period in time in Jewish history, right? Baruch Hashem, the Jewish people have had rabbis from the time of Avraham Avinu until today. But so which rabbis are we talking about? But whenever we say Razal or Chazal, we're talking about a specific tekufa, epoch in the history of Klal Yisrael, and it's referring to the Bisman HaTalmud, at the time of the Talmud, which basically is referring to what do you have in the Talmud? You have Tanoim and Amoraim. Those are Chazal. That's what we mean when we say Chazal. Okay.
So that's a period of like 600 years?
What's that?
The period, including the Tanaim and the Amoraim, we're talking about approximately 600 years?
Oh, how long was it? Was it that long? Maybe. I thought it was something more like maybe between 400, 500, maybe 600. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So, Hine Rabbeinu Zichronam Lebracha Amru V'inyan Hakruch Vim Ketzad Hein Omdim. Our sages of blessed memory said concerning the matter of the Kruvim, how is it that they stand? Rabbi Yochanan, the Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar, Chad Amar Penehem, Ish El Achiv. One said they face each other. Chad Amar Penehem Lebayis. And the other said that they face the house. That's interesting. The house.
Yeah, that's the way they say it.
So the footnote says eastward. So that means both of them are facing eastward.
That's what they say.
That's what the footnote says. That according to Divrei Chayamim, eastward towards the holy, from the Holy of Holies, in which the ark resided.
Oh, here comes Roy.
Because
Roy.
Okay, Roy. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, Roy.
Good morning. Yes.
How's your wife doing?
Baruch Hashem, she's much better now. Not complete, but much better. Baruch
Excellent.
Oh, Baruch Hashem.
What page are we? What part are we up to?
We're at the beginning of Perek Ches.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were just saying that there's a machlokas between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yochanan about the positioning of the cheruvim. One says that they faced each other, and the other says that they faced the house, which means the east. Uleman de'amar panehem ish el achiv hakasiv upanehem labayis. And according to the one that says that they face each other, the verse that says they face the house, lo kasha, it's not a problem. Khan bizman sheYisrael osin rutzono shel makom. Here it's when the Jewish people are doing the will of Hashem. Khan bizman she'ein Yisrael osin rutzon shel makom. And here it's when they're not doing the will of Hashem. So when they're facing each other, it's when the Jewish people are acting properly. When they're not facing each other, it's when we're not acting properly. Vayin Rashbam, and refer to the Rashbam. I guess he's gonna explain it. Ulaman de'amar Pneihem Labayis, and the one who says that they're faced the house, Haksiv Ufneihem Ish El Achiv. The pasuk that says they face each other, Dimet Tzadidei Itz Dudei Rotza Lamar Kitzas Labayis Ukitzas Ze Lezeh. And the one who says that they face the bias, the pasuk that says that they face each other, I can only read the English here because I don't know these words. It says that their position was partially angled, meaning partially facing the house, partially facing the other.
Yeah, that in the Nefesh Hahaim it doesn't make it clear, but those two words, the Mitzadeh Atstude, that they're partially facing the bias, partially facing one another, that is an answer to the Gemara's question. The Gemara asked the question on the Manda Omer that says Pneim Labayis. Pneim Labayis, he says that they're facing Pneim Labayis. That's the opinion of one of these two Amoraim. And the Gemara asks on that, but we have a pasuk in Shmos. In the Hamisha Chumshei Torah, it says Pneihem Ish El Achiv. They are facing, each one is facing the other one. So that's the question, and then the Gemara answers the question. The Mitzadeh Atsude. So they're meaning that they're like you said, they're partially facing. They're not totally facing the bias. They're facing the bias, but they're also facing one another. So it's not directly facing one another, but they're partially facing one another, and partially also facing the bias, which, as you said, is referring to the we're going to see in the Gemara. The Gemara says the Heichel,
right?
Which is which is to the east, which is to the east of the Kodesh Kodesh, which is where the Kruvim are in the Kodesh Kodesh, in the Holy of Holies. Okay, so that's what the Gemara says. And Hahaim is bringing the Gemara. Right. And then he says, Ein Rashi. So take a look at the Rashi, which you're saying really is the Rashbam. Because the latter half of Basra is, we don't have Rashi, we have Rashbam, his grandson.
Right.
Okay.
Vaha leka l'serutze kedil leel kan bizman sheYisrael osin the Kule. So look in the Rashbam, and this is not the answer that is above. Here, in the time that Israel is doing, etc., meaning forming God's will, the Kevan de Ikar Asiyas Keruvim Pnehem Lebayis Lo Haya Lahem La'asos L'Simon She'ein Yisrael Osin Rutzono Shel Makom. That since the essence of what is asiyas?
The making of
the kruvim, they face the house, and they're not doing according to the sign that Israel is not doing the will of Hashem. I'm not sure I'm following what I just read.
Yeah, well, you're in good company. Even if you can translate every single word exactly, it's still not really understandable to me what it is what's being said. But I'll just translate the words for you, and then we'll try to perhaps Hashem will enlighten our eyes, and we'll get an idea of what's being told to us over here. Okay, first, in order to answer what's being said over here, you have to appreciate what the question is. You don't appreciate what the question is, you can't really appreciate the answer, right?
Right.
So the question is that we have two different Manda Omrim. One Manda Omer said they're facing one another. And the Gemara asks, but what about the pasuk that says that they're not facing one another? They're facing the Heichal. They're facing the bias, which refers to the Heichal, which is the east of where they are. So the first answer to that question the Gemara gave was, because this is talking about when Klal Yisrael is doing the rest of Hashem, and that's talking when Klal Yisrael is not. Okay. And then the Gemara turns to the next Manda Omer that says they how do they stand? They stand towards the Heichel. They stand towards the bias. Both of them. they're positioned in the same direction. So but the pasuk in Shmos says no, that they face one another. They don't face the bias; they face one another. So first of all, we don't understand why the Gemara asks the question, because wouldn't you say that the same question could be asked in both mandomim, and presumably the same answer could be given the same answer could be given in both cases. If it's good for that mandomer, it's good for the other mandomer. That's what we. So we don't really understand why the Gemara is asking the question altogether. I don't. And number two, the answer is a different answer that's given. So that's going to explain why we ask the question, because we have a different answer to give over here, according to this Mandomer. So but what is exactly the answer? Why? And this is what Hahaim is pointing out, that the answer, which is given in the case of the second Mandomer, is not the same answer. So why is it not the second? Why is the answer not the same? The answer should be the same as the answer that we gave above. Why is it not the same? That's the question. On that, so on that, Reb Chaim, I believe, is quoting the language of the Rashbam. And this is the translation of the answer, without really understanding what it means. He says over here, the kaven the ikar asiyas krubim pneim lebayis, since the ikar, the main asiyas of the making of the krubim, and I guess that includes the positioning of the krubim. When you make them, it's not enough to make them; then you got to put them in the place that they're supposed to be in the kodesh kodeshim. So how are you gonna put them down? You're gonna have to put them down in a certain direction. So which direction are you gonna put them in? That's part of the making. So according to this Mando Omar, we're answering according to this Mando Omar, that since he holds, in other words, what are they arguing about? They're arguing l'chora about what's the ikar asiyas kruvim all about. What's the main point of making the kruvim and putting them down there? So he says the main point is to put them in a way that pnei l'bayis. They're both facing the heichal. Now, so since he holds that is so. So what about the pasuk that says it's supposed to be facing one another? So the Gemara answers that for that mandomer, and it says lo hayalehem lasoso siman. They didn't want to make even though that's the main direction that they're supposed to be facing in when you put them down, didn't want to put them down in that way. Because it would be a bad siman. Didn't want to make a siman that didn't want to be pointing out an indication that Klal Yisrael is not doing the Ratzon Hashem, because that's what we said according to the first answer. The first answer was, when they're facing in that, when they're not facing one another, that's an indication that unfortunately the Klal Yisrael is not doing the Ratzon Hashem. So this mandomer that says, but that's the for whatever reason, I don't know. That's the way that he says that they're supposed to be put down, but he agrees that it's not a good siman. It doesn't look nice like that because it doesn't show on Klal Yisrael favorably. So therefore, he doesn't want to do it all the way. So he does it a little bit, half the way. Does it half and half. Half like this, half like that. It shouldn't be the whole way, which would be a bad siman that Klal Yisrael is not doing the Hashem. Okay, so and that is, I think, the words. Yeah, those are the words of the Rashbam. The Nefesh Hahaim is simply quoting the words of the Rashbam in Divrei Maskil Mitzadeh Atsude, which could be found. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines up from the bottom of the page.
This is not.
And you probably have a little picture. You probably have a little picture of the Kruvim on the side of the Rashbam over there.
Yes, I do.
No.
And over there, they made it to look like they're birds. So the question is, why do they make like birds? Nobody says that they're birds. So I think the answer is because they didn't want to make it like a person, because that they didn't want to do that, because there's those that hold that that's not proper to make an image of a person, even one that's not three-dimensional. So they made birds. Nobody has any problem with birds.
Right.
But they're not birds, I'm saying. It causes a confusion. Okay. Okay, so right. So what we're looking for, you can see in this what the Rashbam says over here. These are the words you'll recognize these words from what we read just now in the Nefesh Hahaim. They're a little bit facing the bias, and they're a little bit facing one another. So what does that mean? It means, in other words, is that the way they were put down? Is that the way that they're always? That's the way they always are. This goes into a question of what is the whole question about? Kate said, "Hey, Umdim, how is it that they're standing?" Okay, I don't want to go into an arichas over here. I just wanted to understand the Gemara, but I see that it's like all Gemaras. It's a yam Talmud. You get drowned over here. Has to show. So, but I just want to see the rest of the words of the Rashbam. So the Rashbam says it's like when a person is speaking to his friend and he's not looking at him directly in the eye for whatever reason. He doesn't get into that. But he says he's speaking to his friend, but he's not. The Hofek Rosho, he turns his head, Kitsas, a little bit, the side acher. He turns it to the side. He's not looking at him in the eye when he's saying what he's saying, or when he's listening. And then you have the words of the words that we find quoted in our Sefer. And here, here in answering this Manda Omer, we cannot give the answer that we gave according to the first Manda Omer. We can't give that answer to explain the two divergent opinions. Why? The Kevin the Iker sees Kruvim Panei the bias. Lo hayalahem asoso simen shein yisrael osin ritzon shamav. Fine. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do is look over here and see if I could see any explanation of what that means really, because I don't really understand that. Let's see here. אי אפשר לתאר את שיטה זו כאן בזמן שעושים רצונו, דהיינו מתחילה העמידום כשפניהם לבייס. וכשהיו ישראל עושים רצונו של מקום, היו הופכים פניהם זה לזה, שבוודאי לא היה לשלמה להעמידם באופן כזה. הרומז על כך שאין ישראל עושים רצונו של מקום. Okay, so the way they're, I guess that's the way that I explained it. I'll just say it over again so that we have it clear that we're talking about the way that they were positioned by Shlomo Melech. Time for somebody to get up? Oh, okay. You're up. So since right, שמתחילה כשעשו את הכרובים הניחו באופן זה שיהיו פונים איש אל אחיו, according to the first mandamar, כדי שתשרה השכינה בישראל, ויעשי ישראל רצון של מקום. כאשר חטאו ישראל ולא עשו רצון של מקום, היו הכרובים הולכים על פניהם לצד הבייס, על ידי נס. So it's a deep machlokes over here between these two Manda Omrim. How they were, what was the thinking behind their positioning? So let's just start the other way around now. Let's start with the first Manda Omer. The first Manda Omer says, Pneim Ish El Achiv. They were facing directly one another. So what does that mean? That means that initially, when they were made and they were placed down in the Kodesh Kodeshim, they were placed in such a way that they were facing directly one another. And of course, that we understand is a positioning of love and endearment and closeness and togetherness. And that is Kedei Shetishra Hashchina B'Yisrael. So that would be perhaps it would awaken the ruach of Klal Yisrael to prevail to Hashem that the Shekhinah should dwell in the Jewish people. And that the Jewish people would follow suit and endeavor to do the Ratzon Hashem. It was like a tefillah, a request, and it had a certain power to it. Even putting down these kruvim in that way would cause the Shekhinah to rest amongst the Jewish people, and as a result of the Shekhinah being with the Jewish people, they would be inspired, they would be uplifted and elevated to do the Ratzon Hashem. That's the first Manda Omer. That we understand. That's very good. And so the Gemara asks the question on that Manda Omer. So how come it says in Divrei Yomim, how come it says Pneim Lebayis? Why is that? So the Gemara answers that's talking about when Klal Yisrael was not doing the Ratzon Hashem. So to indicate that the Kruvim would stand facing the bias, they wouldn't be facing one another. and so that would be a bit of a tochacha to Klal Yisrael that Klal Yisrael, please do the Ratzon Hashem. You're not doing the Ratzon Hashem 100%. You gotta do better than that. Okay, so that's the whole first Manda Omar. The second Manda Omar, for some reason, doesn't seem that we're getting into the reason why that Manda holds that way. But nevertheless, that Manda holds, based upon the pasuk in Divrei Yomim, that the main positioning when they were positioned was not facing one another, but facing towards the Heichal. Both of the Kruvim were facing towards the Heichal. They were not facing towards one another. Okay, perhaps the point is that was the both of it's very deep over here. It's not that they're both facing the Heichel, the Kedusha, I guess, perhaps. I don't know. The Rashbam doesn't explain one way or another. But in any case, the question now is, though, well, so then what does that Mandomer do with the pasuk in Shmos that says that they're facing one another? It says they're facing one another. So how can you say, what's the resolution really of these two psukim? Because each Mandomer has a pasuk to rely on. So here we're going to say that, in view of the fact that this Manda Omer holds, based upon the pasuk in Divrei Yomim, that their Iker Asiya, their main making and positioning in the base of Mikdash of Shlomo Melech, because we're talking about Shlomo Melech, we're talking about the Divrei Yomim. So that's the Zman of Shlomo Melech, not the Zman of Sefer Shmos, which is talking about the Mishkan of Moshe Rabbeinu. So over there, the positioning was that like Shlomo did, he did the right thing, he did everything he was supposed to do. They were both facing the bias. So on that, the Gemara asks, well, how come it's different? How come it's different than it says in Shmos? It says in Shmos it's supposed to be facing one another. So on that, the Gemara said, the Rashbam explained, even though the main making and positioning was that they both face the bias, they're not facing one another, but this that we say that, the Gemara says, Bavadai, Shlomo Melech did not want to make the positioning, he understood that the Ratzon Hashem was that he should make the position of the Kruvim in such a way that it was reflecting that Klal Yisrael was not doing the Ratzon Hashem. Chas v'sholom. So what did he do? He did chetzi. Even though the command was to do it Pnei L'bayis and not facing one another really at all, but the Shlomo made the chetzi, and why did he do like that? So that it shouldn't be a siman, a not good siman for Klal Yisrael. Okay, I can. The Lord in Baba Basra, and now with that, Bez Hashem will be able to understand what the Hahaim wants to say over here in the Nefesh Hahaim. Okay, so now we are up to he quotes Tosas. Okay, so we'll just we're not going to read the Tosas inside. Let's just see what our Sefer says about it. So we're up to B'kein Kosvo Tosas. We're back in Nefesh Hahaim. Mayor, you got the place. Want to read? Oh, sorry, 11:25.
Okay. It says, V'chein katbu tosafot sham, the mistama he'emidu techila lefima shehayu osin ritzono shel makom. Okay. I'll just finish the paragraph. The lichora akate ikshe lama he'emidum techila kruvei shlomo penehem mitzudadin velo ish el achiv mamash.
Good. Baruch Hashem, we understand Reb Chaim's question now, in light of what we just said. Baruch Hashem. Now I'm happy. Does everybody understand Reb Chaim's question? Still, at the end of the day, that's what I was saying. That we're not really given a reason why it should be that the Kruvim of Shlomo should not be facing one another. Why do they want to do it in a way that they're not facing one another? Because facing one another, that's the chipah of Klal Yisrael to Hashem, and the Shekhinah is going to be showing Yisrael like that, and Klal Yisrael is going to be elevated to do the Ratzon Hashem. Why not do it? Why not do it in that? Why not do it in that way initially? The initial positioning should be in that way, no? And this Adman Omar, based upon the pasuk, is saying that the initial positioning was not like that. So that's Reb Chaim's question. What's the understanding? What's the lumdus? Why it was that it was not like that? Okay. And now he's going to launch on an explanation over here, Ha'inyan. And we have 3 minutes. We have 3 minutes, Mayor. Let's read some words over here for 3 minutes.
Let's go on then. V'ayanhu k'moshe amru perek heitzad mevarchim lamed het lamed bet, I guess. Tanu Rabbanan v'asafta diganecha lefi shene'emar from Yoshua lo yamush sefer haTorah hazeh mipika gomer. Yachol Devarim Kitavan Talmud Lomar in Devarim Yud Aleph V'asafta Diganecha Hanheg Bahemin Chag Derech Eretz Divrei Rabbi Yishmael Rashbi Omer Efshar Adam Choresh B'Sha'at Harisha Chulei Torah mar tehei aleha ela bizman sheYisrael osin ritzono shel makom v'lachtan naaset al yidei acherim v'chulei uvizman she'ein Yisrael osin ritzono shel makom v'lachtan naaset al yidei atzman shene'emar yasafta diganeka. So,
right. Okay, so this Gemara is a famous Gemara that Machlokes Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, based upon this pasuk, that we read every day, twice a day, in the first paragraph, I think, of Krishma. Is it the first paragraph, second paragraph?
No, I think it's the second.
Somewhere over there. Second paragraph.
Right.
It says if you'll do the Ratzon Hashem and b'chule and it says basafta. It says everything will all of your needs will be done. Asafta ganecha, you'll have plenty. You'll gather in all your grains. You'll have what to eat. You'll be satisfied and happy.
Mm.
And so according to this, so Rabbi Shmuel is learning this pasuk accordingly. That talking about the Klal Yisrael doing the Ratzon Hashem, and they're getting they're gathering in their grains, because that's the way that you do. You have to conduct yourself with derech eretz. You yourself have to gather in the grains. And Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says, no, it cannot be. If you're gonna have to be, that's only the first, that's the last half. That's only the last part of the story. Gathering the grains. How did you get the grains all together? You got to do plowing, and so you got to do plowing, and you got to do watering, and you got to do this, you got to do that, got to do the other thing. And if you're going to do all of that, says Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, when are you going to have an opportunity to learn some Torah? How are you going to know what it is that you're supposed to do in this world? So he says no. He says that this pasuk, he says that when Klal Yisrael are doing the Ratzon Hashem, so then others will do the malacha for them. And so it comes out according to that Bisman She'ein Yisrael Osim Ritzon Hashem Makom, Malachtam Nasis Al Yidei Atzman. Then the malacha will be done by no one else except for themselves. They're going to be the ones to do the malacha, and that's what it says in this pasuk, Basapta, and you will gather in your grain.
Mm.
And on that, which you didn't read yet, but if you're wondering how could that, everybody's going to have a big question on this, and Reb Chaim's got a big question on this opinion of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai himself. So we're gonna leave it as a cliffhanger, and everybody is going to be jumping out of their skin, wondering what is going to happen with this what's going on now.
Mm.
Okay, that's Shkoyach.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. All right, and see you.
Alan coming in.
Oh, okay. I missed Alan. There he is.
We'll see you in
everyone, have a good
a
day.
short while. See you, mate.
Before
Have a good day, Ryan.